Welcome to my video. This video will be discussing the difference between aspen shavings or aspen mulch as bedding or substrate for your snake or your lizard versus hemp, which is getting really popular in the reptile industry. This is commonly used for farm animals, but it's starting to creep into to snake enclosures and lizard enclosure. It even has a snake picture in there. So let's see what the difference is for both of these substrate, whether or not they would work into your budget or if it's something that you would like. So first off, aspen is a very, very popular type of substrate. Aspen shavings very popular with small animals like hamsters, and aspen mulch is commonly used for burrowing species like canyon sand boas and so forth. People have been using this for years and years and years, love it, hate it, you hear both sides of it. And whereas hemp is made from cannabis plants. It's the byproduct. It's the, when we think about hemp, of course we think about, what you think it is. It's more than that. People also use it for other things like as bedding, or to use it for chicken coops. Chicken owners like hemp for helping, raise their chickens and so forth. So it is a favorite among farmers. Now, I'll jump right into it when we talk about cost. It doesn't matter really what you like if you can't afford it, right? So cost-wise, I would say aspen is the more affordable option. This one bag of aspen, 24 quarts, costs about $12 in my area. More or less $12 in my area. I can get a little bit less if there's a nice coupon that shows up now and then at my local pet store. So about $12. You're definitely not going to get this, too cheap. It's still pretty expensive compared to other reptile substrate available in the market. But if you're looking for something for drier tanks, for drier species, aspen mulch doesn't fail. Aspen mulch is just costly in that way. Again, we're comparing it to other popular snake substrate like cocoa husk. So this one, about $12 for 24 quarts. Hemp bedding, they don't really measure by quarts, they measure by liters. So I think if I did the math right, this is 8 pounds of hemp, which equates close to definitely less than 24 quarts. My math is terrible, okay? So it's less than 12, I'm getting a lot less for this than this. And this one bag cost me $15 to $16. It's less for this particular order because it was on sale. If you buy 4 bags, you get 1 free. So technically per bag, if you do the math, I actually saved some money because there was a sale. I was able to get 1 bag for free, therefore I'm actually paying for the price of 3 and get 4. If there was no sale, if I'm just buying this, because whatever, this would be the more expensive option. Whereas in aspen, you're never really going to find this on sale. Like, again, you will find a pet store coupon, maybe one of those coupons that shows up now and then. But generally, you're not going to find a coupon from ZooMed in particular. So it depends. So price-wise, if you're on a budget, definitely this is the better option. Now, what is so great about hemp? Why do people love it? Why is it getting into the reptile industry to begin with? If it's so expensive, why even bother, using it? This is why. This is aspen mulch from this, okay? Can't really see it, but it has a small amount of dust. It doesn't really show on the camera. It's very, very, very small amount of dust. This is the hemp. No dust. No dust at all. That's another reason why it works so well for birds like chickens. I think they're very sensitive to dust. And it's very, when you touch it, not only is there no dust, it actually feels very soft and dry. I can imagine chicken feet, especially their feet so sensitive, stepping on this, laying their eggs on it. It feels so soft. It's comfortable to the touch. Mulch isn't bad either. It isn't bad. It's a little, bulky, fluffy. It's fluffy. It's fluffy. It bunched together. It doesn't fall apart. So there is the difference. The dust, no dust, practically no dust off the hemp. Dust of aspen mulch. To me, I don't think it's that bad. To a lot of people, they don't like it. They don't want their snakes breathing this dust in. So if you are anti-dust, you really don't like dust, then I will go with the hemp. You definitely don't have any dust. If you're worried about the substrate sticking to your snake or your lizard's face, because this can get a little bit a little bit everywhere. This comes right off. You see how it pours right off your hand? It doesn't really stick on your hand at all. No dust, no nothing. See how I still have some stick to my hand? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, but if you're really, really worried, like a baby snake, for example, you're feeding a baby snake and the pinky that you're feeding is still a little bit wet and some of this bedding will get stuck on that pinky. It's not a big deal as long as you're not getting a bunch of this stuffed in its mouth. Only if you have a huge amount of substrate, no matter what type, including aspen and hemp, is it dangerous to your snake. So if you're worried about feeding your snake that the substrate may stick to the prey item, hemp doesn't stick. I mean, anything that's wet, if your rodent prey is wet, it's gonna stick. Even the hemp would stick a little bit. That's just kind of common sense. That's why you should try to dry. Use a little towel, dry off the prey item before you feed it. But between the two, if you are really worried, even though after you dry your rodent prey, you're worried whether or not this could get inside your snake's mouth, no matter how little, I will go with the hemp. Besides price, another reason why I would recommend the aspen over hemp, see how I can, maybe it's a terrible example. It's its property, being able to bunch up like this, allow it to make burrows, and it stays in there. So these little tunnels and burrows the snakes make, it won't collapse. It won't collapse as easily as other substrate. So this is what I love about aspen mulch. It allows the snakes to burrow through and they feel more secure. This works great for canyon sand boas or baby snakes in general who feels a little bit scared, at least for the first 2 to 3 weeks in their new home. This helps them feel better. When they're able to burrow and hide, it helps them feel better, feel more secure, settle down faster, and then you get a snake that eats better. Hemp, unfortunately, don't have that kind of property. Like I said, it falls apart very easily. They can't really burrow very well. Even if I load this hemp all the way up to here, you can see that it's too loose. It just won't form any tunnels and burrows for the snakes. So snakes that need to feel secure, like baby snakes, or they need to burrow, hemp bedding would not be a good choice. When it comes to mold, any substrate actually, any and all substrate can mold. I don't care what it is, cocoa husk, cypress mulch, they can all mold. I've seen it, I've dealt with it. if anyone tells you, yeah, this substrate will never mold, it makes all kinds of promises, they're lying. It does mold. Try it out for yourself. If you have wet substrate or dry substrate, whatever the case may be, and you close the lid on top of it with no ventilation and it's wet, sorry, if the substrate is even a little bit wet, if you close the lid and just let it sit, you will have mold. You will have mold. Okay, because in the air, we have fungal spores in the air at all times. We just don't feel it. We don't notice it. It's inside your house. It's outside your house. It's everywhere, okay? That's life. You know, fungal spores are everywhere. They're microscopic. You can barely see it. And most of the time, they cause no harm. But they do land on surfaces that we don't even notice. And when they land on surfaces that favor in their condition to grow, which is, you know, warm, humid, and sometimes lack of airflow, it promotes their growth, no matter what substrate that could be. So for aspen, I find that to be much more troublesome than, of course, cocoa husk. But that doesn't mean cocoa husk is an exception, okay? If you can make mold you can make mold grow on cocoa husk. But aspen is notoriously known to grow much easier. Mold to grow much easier. So I do recommend that as long as you clean out your tank, dump everything out every 30 days or so, you're good. You're fine. You can prevent that by just cleaning out your tank. Just clean your tank and make sure you have airflow. So it's not a big deal. But if mold is a concern, definitely aspen mulch is more likely to grow mold than hemp, because I have yet to have that problem. I know it can grow mold too. Just like I said, everything can grow mold. Mold lives off usually dead living organism. Usually. Some can actually eat through other things like non-living organism like dirt and rock and so forth. Anyways, that's a whole other whatever. So hemp can potentially grow mold, but less likely to happen versus aspen. So you're like, mostly I think it's because it's so loose, airflow goes through it with no issues, whereas this is much more clumpy, so airflow is easily trapped inside, promoting mold growth. So I'm going to show you what my tanks look like with each of these substrate. So this is my Woma python enclosure, and this is the hemp. And he's hanging out over there. Scruffy, not Scruffy. I'm getting my snake's names mixed up. All Might. What's up, All Might? He's hungry. He's waiting for feeding day. But as you can see, it looks actually pretty nice. It looks really nice in a snake cage. Not too bad, right? Looks really nice. I like it. I like the texture. I like how soft it is. I like there's no dust. This is a 4x2 enclosure, and I don't, because he's not, he doesn't really care. It's a really thin layer of hemp. I use about half of 4-pound bag of hemp. That was more than enough to cover most of his cage. Hey, what's up, buddy? And whether or not the snake like it, I don't know. I mean, I guess he kind of does. He likes to push the substrate around. I do notice a difference though, is when the cage has substrate or no substrate. So I do notice the difference, and when I put substrate in there, he seems to be more curious and wanted to explore more and check it out, like he's checking out my phone. Snakes don't like their heads touched. I had a snake that did, but he has passed away. He went to heaven. He went to snake heaven. So this one is my Rosie Boa pretzel, and her cage has aspen mulch, just because she's still very young. Like I said, I keep my baby snakes in aspen mulch usually. I do plan to keep my canyon sand boas and probably my rosy boa on aspen mulch after they grow up, just because they're more of an arid species, so they prefer drier climates and aspen mulch. Actually, aspen mulch and hemp does almost the same thing, I guess. It really, makes no difference, but I do see her sometimes burrow into this substrate, so I may keep it that way. But definitely the canyon sand boas, because they really, really prefer staying hidden within the substrate, I would use aspen mulch. I would keep aspen mulch for my canyon sand boas. She thinks it's feeding day every day. If anyone thinks that rosy boas are terrible eaters, which they can be, this is proof to you that not all rosy boas are the same. You can have some that are really terrible eaters, or you can have some that eats too well. She would snap my finger if she could right now. She's just waiting for a chance. That's how good she eats. It may be a little too good, but you can't complain. You can either have a rosy boa that is difficult to feed, or one that's really too good to feed. I don't know why. It's just it's something that's pretty common in the rosy boa world. But don't let it stress you out if yours don't eat. They actually do well. They won't starve to death if you're not able to get yours to eat in 1 or 2 weeks. Just make sure you check your husbandry. Anyways, I hope this video has been useful to you. Especially hemp is getting popular in the reptile world. I would consider you to at least try. If you're curious, give it a go, give it a try. Maybe you'll like it. I like it, I just don't like the price. If I could, I would switch all my snakes that don't burrow into hemp because of the lack of dust and because of how soft to me. Again, it's a human preference. The snake don't really care. You could have paper towels in there, they don't really care. But as a human, I like the touch of hemp, and it's environmentally friendly. Or so they say. They say it's more environmentally friendly than aspen. I don't know. Everybody has their own agenda. So I know that for personal preference, if the price was better or if it's the same as aspen or less, I would have grabbed every bag of hemp out there. Anyways, have a great day. Enjoy your day. And I'll make a new video soon. Thank you.